All right, Commanders fans, before we get into today's story, let's take a quick moment to talk about something important. This Washington Commanders team is fighting to get better. Week after week, practice after practice, the goal has been the same: to improve, to adjust, and to find that spark that can turn effort into consistent results. The talent is there, the heart is there, but right now, this team is searching for that formula to bring it all together. And here at Commanders HQ, that's exactly what we're here to talk about. So before we dive into today's in-depth look at what's really happening inside the Burgundy and Gold, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps a ton. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any Commanders updates, news, and inside analysis all season long. Now, let's talk about what's really going on in Washington. Because folks, the Commanders are running out of excuses. Watching this defense lately has been tough, especially that linebacking core, the same group that dominated last season, setting the tone for Joe Witt Jr.'s physical, disciplined defense. Last year, Bobby Wagner and Frankie Luva were absolute monsters. They were second-team All-Pros. They brought swagger, toughness, leadership, everything you want in your defensive leaders. Together, they were the heartbeat of everything good that happened on that side of the ball. But this year, it's been a completely different story. The cracks are starting to show, and they're showing badly. Bobby Wagner, one of the smartest linebackers to ever play the game, just isn't moving like he used to. He can still diagnose plays, he can still call out shifts before the snap, but getting to the ball carrier, that burst, that closing speed, it's just not there anymore. And that's a hard thing to say about a future Hall of Famer. Frankie Luvu, on the other hand, is still giving maximum effort, but teams are scheming against him now. He's getting double-teamed, chipped, redirected. Offenses are making sure he doesn't wreck their plans. And Joe Witt Jr. has even shifted him into more edge rush situations because of all the injuries to the defensive front. The problem is the whole middle of the defense feels slower, less aggressive, and less confident. And that's where one young name needs to start getting real attention: Jordan Magee. If there's one silver lining in this tough defensive stretch, it's the flashes we've seen from the rookie linebacker out of Temple, Jordan Magee. The 2024 fifth-round pick hasn't played a ton, but when he has, he's shown something Washington desperately needs: energy, explosiveness, hunger. During that game against the Dallas Cowboys, Magee came in for a few series, and you could immediately feel the difference. He wasn't perfect, not by any means, but he played fast. He played free. He made a couple of solid tackles in space and didn't hesitate to attack. Joe Witt Jr. has been hesitant to give him more snaps, saying Magee's still learning the system and can be reckless at times. But at this point, that might be a risk worth taking, because the veterans, Wagner and Luvu, aren't producing like they did last year. Magee might not have Wagner's experience or Luvu's leadership, but he's got something both of them are missing right now: fresh legs and raw aggression. And sometimes that's exactly what a defense needs to find its spark again. The Commanders have been riding out the storm, hoping things would naturally improve. But after that embarrassing collapse against Dallas, hoping isn't a plan anymore. The defense needs juice. It needs a spark. And Magee might just be that guy, if the coaching staff gives him the chance. Now, let's talk about the offense, because while the defense has been struggling, the offense isn't doing much better. On paper, Washington's rushing attack has been one of the best in the league this season. For a while, they ranked top 3 in total rushing yards. But that number doesn't tell the full story, because defenses have figured out the blueprint to shut it down. And it's not on the offensive line. It's not even on the running backs. The real issue? The injuries at wide receiver. See, when Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown, and Deebo Samuel are healthy, defenses have to respect the deep threat. They have to back off, spread out, and protect against explosive plays. That opens up the run game. But now, McLaurin's been out for 4 straight games. Noah Brown's on injured reserve. Deebo's dealing with a heel injury. That leaves Jaden Daniels with Luke McCaffrey, Chris Moore, Jalen Lane, and Robbie Chosen as his main receiving targets. Defenses aren't scared of that. So they're stacking the box, bringing 8, sometimes 9 defenders close to the line of scrimmage and daring the Commanders to throw. Against the Cowboys, that heavy box look was brutal. Dallas loaded up against the run at the highest rate of any team Washington's faced this season, and it worked. The Commanders were held to just 67 rushing yards on 18 carries from their running backs. That's it. That's not a running back problem. That's a nobody fears your receivers problem. Until this offense gets its playmakers back, and until Jaden Daniels is 100% healthy again, this is exactly how defenses are going to play them. The Commanders have hit that point in the season where excuses don't mean much anymore. Injuries are part of the game. Adversity is part of every NFL season. But what separates great teams from good ones is how they respond when things get ugly. And right now, Washington's response has to be stronger. The defense has to find a spark, whether that's Jordan Magee getting more snaps or Joe Witt Jr. shaking up the scheme to fit what his players can do right now. The offense has to adjust to life without its top wideouts. Maybe that means more creativity from Cliff Kingsbury. Maybe that means more designed runs for Jaden Daniels once he's cleared to play. Maybe it means trusting those young receivers to step up and make plays. Whatever it is, the Commanders need to stop waiting for things to get better and start making things better. Because over the next 3 games, they face the Kansas City Chiefs, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Detroit Lions. 3 teams that know exactly how to capitalize on mistakes. If Washington doesn't find its rhythm now, this season could slip away fast. Only just two teams have a single loss. One of them, the Green Bay Packers, who even ended one of their games in a tie. While many of the league's biggest powerhouses are taking their lumps, the Kansas City Chiefs, the same Chiefs Washington faces next, are sitting at 4-3. The Buffalo Bills, they've dropped 2 straight. The Eagles were spiraling before bouncing back against the Vikings. And how about the Baltimore Ravens, a team that's always in the Super Bowl conversation, sitting at 1-5? This league is chaotic. It's unpredictable. That's what makes the NFL beautiful and brutal all at once. So when we talk about the Commanders being 3-7, let's not act like they're alone in their struggles. Almost every so-called contender is fighting through something right now. Players get called soft, coaches are accused of losing the locker room, and fans start declaring the season over before Thanksgiving even hits. It's that instant gratification culture. If things don't look perfect right now, then they must be awful. But that's not how football works. Last year, remember, this same Commanders team faced adversity early. They had rough stretches, they battled injuries, and yet they finished as one of the NFC's best. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens because of resilience, belief, and a head coach who refuses to let a locker room fold when things get ugly. And that's exactly the energy Dan Quinn is bringing again this year. Let's rewind 2 weeks. Washington was sitting at 3-2 after going on the road and dominating a good Los Angeles Chargers team. The Bears and Cowboys were the ones asking themselves, how can we stop the Commanders? That's how quickly things can shift in the NFL. And despite the last 2 weeks being rough, the Commanders still have a positive point differential, meaning they're scoring more than they're giving up over the long haul. That's not a stat you see from a lost team. That's a stat you see from a team that's been in every game and just hasn't finished enough of them. Plus, when you look at the NFC landscape, no one's pulling away. Washington is right there. One solid win, maybe even an upset over the Chiefs, could flip this whole narrative in a heartbeat. Suddenly, everyone would be talking about how dangerous this team looks heading into November. Now, let's be fair. This offense is banged up. Losing key pieces on the offensive line and in the receiving core has thrown off the rhythm. Jaden Daniels has shown flashes of brilliance, but he's also learning how to handle adversity as a rookie leader in the NFL. That's part of the growing process. If the Commanders can just get healthy, if they can get that core back in sync, we could see a completely different team down the stretch. Because we already know the talent is there. We've seen it. Remember last year? This was a top 5 scoring defense for most of the season. The offense, when clicking, looked like one of the most balanced units in football. That DNA doesn't disappear overnight. It's just waiting to be reawakened. Dan Quinn's message to the team has been simple. Keep fighting, keep improving, stay together. It's easy to buy into the hype when you're winning, but the real measure of a team's identity is what happens when things aren't going right. This is the stretch that separates good teams from great ones.
The teams that crumble under pressure from the ones that push through it and come out stronger. Quinn built this roster on leadership and accountability. Veterans like Jonathan Allen and Frankie Louvu have been vocal about setting the tone in practice. And even Jaden Daniels, in his first year, is earning respect for taking responsibility and demanding more from himself. That's the kind of culture that can turn a mid-season slump into a playoff surge. Every team has a breaking point and a turning point. Look around the NFL. Every franchise has gone through this. The 2021 Bengals started 5-4 before making the Super Bowl. The 2022 Lions began 1-6 before finishing 9-8 and nearly sneaking into the playoffs. The Commanders' story isn't written yet. Not even close. We might look back at this very stretch, this frustrating gut check period, as the moment that forged their character. The stretch that forced them to refocus, get healthy, and rediscover that underdog energy that made them so dangerous last season. Commanders fans, this is where we turn it over to you. Do you think it's time for the coaching staff to let Jordan Magee loose and shake things up on defense? And offensively, what do you think the team needs to do to counter the heavy box strategy and get the run game back on track? Drop your thoughts down below in the comments. We want to hear from you. And before you go, if you believe in this team, if you want to keep riding through the ups and downs of this wild season with us, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a Commanders HQ update. Because through every injury, every tough loss, and every breakout moment, we're going to be right here with you, breaking it all down, burgundy and gold style. Until next time, Commanders fans, stay passionate, stay loyal, and as always, hail to the Commanders.